Coach Lance here with CFSJ's Inside the Box. Whether you have tight times or tight spaces, we've got you covered. What you're about to follow along with is a 1-hour class shrunk into a 10-minute video. How do we do it? We create pause points, we write out equipment lists, and we give you substitution options to where there is zero thought on your part. So whether you have a hotel room, a hotel gym, or you're lucky enough to be outside, we're going to give you that great CFSJ feel when you're not at CFSJ. So let's take a look at the equipment list. Most of the times fairly minimal, and a lot of times you can substitute these things for things you have around your house, whether it be a water bottle or a filled up backpack. So let's go ahead and grab your phone, let's check out this equipment list, and let's get going. Every class, we're going to start off with 2 minutes of cardio. Now, if you're lucky enough to have a bike or a rower or a treadmill or the outside, let's go ahead and do 2 minutes of rowing or jogging or biking. If you don't have that, then let's start off with some jumping jacks, some step back burpees, some double unders, or some other method of your choice that you can do in the tight space that you're in. If you need a suggestion, let's go ahead and do step back burpees. The thing I love most about step back burpees is they hit everything at once. So instead of making this a dynamic, we're going to make this a very slow, grindy kind of movement, stepping back, engaging that plank on the way forward, driving those hips open, getting that nice hinge and that hamstring stretch, and working the plank and the push-up. By the time you've done about 15 of these, everything is ready. Now again, it's your choice, so let's go ahead and start those 2 minutes now. Now that we have that cardio out of the way, let's go ahead and warm up with some dynamic moves that are going to get us prepped for our lift and our WOD later on. Starting with the Cossack stretch. Don't worry about how deep you go. Keep your feet pointed forward. Go ahead and drive that hip over the heel, 5 each side. Next, working into an active glute stretch. If balance is a problem, this can be done from your back. Don't worry about how deep your squat goes, just look for a nice stretch with the glute and the hamstring. Let's go down into a plank pose for Spider-Man with a hip twist. And lastly, let's finish off with 10 pigeon pose. Now that the dynamic warm-up is out of the way, let's go ahead and activate that core. We're going to start off with 10 glute bridges. Notice Devin bringing the hips up, creating a straight line between the knees, the hips, and the shoulders. 10 reps. Next, we're going to lift the shoulders off the ground from that similar position with the thoracic bridge. The idea is to create a straight line again between your knees, your hips, and your shoulders, keeping those fingertips pointed back. And last, 10 bear roll to bridge. Starting from that tabletop position, elevating the knees about an inch off the ground, taking that outside foot and rotating over the body, lifting the hips up. 5 each side. Now remember, even a crappy bear roll to bridge is still a good activation, so don't be caught up that yours may not look like Devin's. Now we've got 2 rounds of this, 10 reps each. Let's go ahead and set a timer and get going, and I'll see you back at strength. Today's strength is a lower body development, working strength and explosivity. We've got 15 goblet sumo squats. Let's watch Coach Devin demonstrate. Feet are wide, chest is up, dropping the hips down to the point of the knees. For those of us with tight hip flexors, this may not be as possible as it is with Devin, but you're working that, trying to pull yourself down to parallel. Next, we've got 10 single-arm Russian kettlebell swings. 5 each arm. We're going to make these fast if we don't have a heavy implement. Notice that the hips go back into a hinge position. The most important part of this is keeping that back flat and those shoulder blades back. And last, 5 box jumps. If we don't have access to something that we can safely jump on, we can also do tuck jumps, or if we have the space, broad jumps. This is 3 rounds every 4 minutes. The idea of this is to push this extremely fast. Let's get through these goblet sumo squats and then burn on the Russian kettlebell swings and the box jumps. Your heart rate should be elevated during this strength development, giving you enough time to reset and hit the next round just as hard. Let's go ahead and set a timer for 4 minutes, and I'll see you at the next section. Let's talk about that Metcon. Today's workout, Crossroads, has a little throwback to the blues era, named after Robert Johnson's song Crossroads, mainly because there's some devil presses in here. It's an 18-minute AMRAP with a buy-in. We're going to start off with a 1,200-meter row or run buy-in. This is roughly going to be anywhere from 6 to 9 minutes for most of us. I would not suggest finding one single modification if you don't have a run to do. What I mean by that is, don't do 9 minutes of double under practice during this. You will burn out. So pick 3 or 4 of your favorite movements and break them apart depending on what your mile time is. If your mile time is in the neighborhood of 10 to 12 minutes, go ahead and do 8 minutes of cardio. If you're a fast one and you got a 6 or a 7-minute mile, let's go ahead and do 4.5 minutes of cardio. And I would actually suggest, if your mile time is really fast, do 3 minutes of burpees. Right after that, we're going to move into a couplet. So with the remaining time, we have 10 devil's press and a 200-meter run. After that 1,200-meter buy-in, with the remainder of our 18 minutes, we have a couplet of 10 devil's press and a 200-meter run. Your score is going to be based on the accumulation of rounds of the devil's press and the 200-meter run. Let's go ahead and watch Coach Devin demonstrate the devil's press. Let's watch Coach Devin demonstrate the devil's press. Starting with dumbbells between legs, you're going to jump back into a plank similar to a burpee, lowering the chest down, doing a push-up, and then much like a kettlebell swing, you're going to swing these dumbbells overhead. You can also choose to clean and press or push press them depending on the weight that you have. If you don't have 2, we're going to do a single 5 each arm. Just be careful on the way back. Now, there's not a lot to this with the exception of motivation. 18 minutes is going to pull this thing way out of the realm of being a sprint and more like being a grind. But reward yourself. Push yourself a little bit harder on the row or the run than you normally would. All right, let's get something that's going to motivate us to run, set our playlist, and get our 18-minute countdown timer, and we're going to begin in 3, 2, 1.